Steven Universe and all associated images are property of Cartoon Network, Rebecca Sugar, and any and all other respective owners. I don't know them all. All footage in this video has been used for the purpose of critique parody under fair use. Please support the official release. I promise that I will be able to tackle a lighter subject in this theory video series at some point, but unfortunately this week, like last week, that just isn't possible, so let's jump right into this. Do you remember back in Catch and Release when Peridot was released from her bubble, saw the other captive gems floating around, and asked if she was going to be harvested? Did you wonder what she meant by that? Because I did, and so did many others. I've actually had this theory in mind pretty much since that episode, but I felt that other theories were more of a priority. Finally, it's time to put this theory together in its entirety with up-to-date information and share it all with you. At its most base level, harvest is defined as the process of bringing in crops. However, it has expanded in its definition to include any process of collection for use in consumption. It is only ever used to describe a process applied to a sentient life form if we are intended to find its use frightening. And Peridot's reaction in this scene is telling of that. She is definitely frightened. She clearly doesn't understand what's happened to her or where she is exactly, but just the sight of a bunch of poofed gems all in one place is enough to trigger a reaction in her. A reaction that I bet would have been a lot stronger had Steven not immediately told her that he didn't mean her any harm. So what could harvest in this context possibly mean? What is so severe that an ageless being with knowledge of technology so advanced that it is indistinguishable from magic would be so immediately afraid? Well, I think the answer lies in another concept related to Peridot's arc, the Homeworld fusion experiments. For those of you who don't know what I'm referring to, go away. Go catch up on the show, then come back and finish this video. As it has been since my very first theory video, all of these theories assume that you are completely up to date on the show, and this is one big spoiler. For those of you who do know what I'm referring to, just to refresh your memory and get you up to speed with my way of thinking on this, the fusion experiments are a series of forced fusions created by Homeworld beneath the Amethyst Kindergarten, after Rose's rebellion took off and became an all-out war. One half to punish the crystal gems, and one half to explore how to bend cross-gem fusion to their purposes. Homeworld took the shards of shattered crystal gems, defeated in battle, and put them into the ground under extreme pressure, creating larger and more varied combinations, with the end result being the cluster, a massive forced fusion which, if successful, would destroy the planet Earth the moment that it came to life and formed a body. It was to check the cluster's progress that was the initial reason for Peridot coming to Earth in the first place. And when Peridot suggests to Yellow Diamond that the cluster be destroyed before it can fully form, Yellow Diamond reacts violently. From this, we can infer a couple of interesting things. First, while Yellow Diamond could just want the Earth destroyed because she's bitter about how the war ended, I think there is more to it. The need to check the cluster's progress at all tells us that the experiment is ongoing, and that Homeworld still intends to collect the results. While we know now, from the emergence of the other forced fusions, that the cluster was most likely a success as well, until very recently no one knew for sure that the cluster would actually form. I think that the Diamonds are anxious to see firsthand if the cluster experiment worked, so that they will know for sure if it is worthwhile to try again on other planets. And if Homeworld does intend to create more clusters, then we have our answer for what harvest is. When the first cluster was compiled, Homeworld researchers had thousands of shards just lying around as a result of the war. With no war ongoing in the present, they would need to get shards for further experiments from another source. What better source than common gems intended for execution? We have already seen that the Diamonds callously execute commoners who step across the line. I theorize that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of poofed gems imprisoned on Homeworld planets right now, waiting to be shattered and utilized to produce one or more additional clusters on other planets as soon as Homeworld has confirmation that the cluster works. But why do this? Homeworld is a logical and pragmatic society, from what we've seen. Yes, the Diamonds do seem to react out of strong emotions sometimes, but for the most part everything is very precise and structured. So why be so wasteful as to kill untold numbers of their own people to break apart a few planets? Well, first of all, we've already established that they pretty freely execute common gems, so it's not like they're being any more wasteful than they already tend to be. As for why they would create more clusters, I have a few ideas. It was mentioned in It Could Have Been Great that Homeworld uses up all resources on all of the planets that it colonizes. It doesn't just use them for kindergartening, it also extracts resources for use in other areas, whether it be construction or technological development or something else. There is the possibility that Homeworld has tapped the resources on some of its planets and moved beyond even having active colonies on them. They may now want to destroy what is left of those planets all at once and see if there's any additional resources that they can collect from the debris that they initially missed. Similarly, it's possible that there are planets which are not suitable for kindergartening and likewise not suitable for colonization, which contain other resources that Homeworld could use, and breaking those planets up and mining the debris would just be more efficient than mining from the surface down. And then there is the third, and I think the most likely possibility. Look at what we know of Homeworld before and after the Gem War. Yes, Homeworld has always been very advanced and very socially structured, but we know from Lapis Lazuli that Homeworld is even more rigid now, only a few millennia later, than it was when the rebellion began. Also, considering that Pearl doesn't understand much of the new technology that Homeworld has recently developed, that means that Homeworld has advanced far enough to enter a new technological age in what, to a gem, is the equivalent of a decade or so. We have also seen, based upon the gem destabilizer tech used in Jailbreak, that a lot of this technology has been designed specifically for use against other gems. The tech can even be used to poof fusions without having to go through their component forms. Everything we've seen suggests that Homeworld has adapted to immediately quell another rebellion should one ever arise. I think that additional clusters are the end result of that way of thinking. If another rebellion breaks out on another planet, if that rebellion cannot be crushed immediately, then Homeworld can just cut off that planet from the warp system, drop a few thousand harvested gem shards into the ground, and leave, knowing that in a few thousand years the problem will work itself out. It's possible that just the fact that they possess the means to produce more clusters might deter potentially rebellious factions from rebelling against Homeworld at all in the first place. Is it an overreaction on Homeworld's part? Probably. But the diamonds don't seem like the types to do anything small. So in conclusion, I think that Harvest is an upcoming event during which gems scheduled for execution by the diamonds will be shattered and their corpses set aside to be used in additional clusters, should additional clusters ever be required. Being a gem who has lived all of her life under the threat of being one of these harvested gems, should she ever screw up too badly, Peridot, seeing the poofed gems in the burning room, thought that she had been added to the harvest, even though it didn't make any sense at the time. Maybe, in her fear, she literally didn't realize where she was, or maybe she just thought that the crystal gems might have a similar punishment. After all, at the time, the thought of any gem who didn't think like a Homeworld gem was still an entirely alien concept to Peridot. And this level of fear fits from what we have seen of the character. Also in Catch and Release, Peridot shows signs that she fears physical retribution from her actions, reacting like someone who has been physically abused. Is it too much of a stretch, really, to assume that a society which abuses its people and executes them for seemingly no reason would then make some macabre use of their remains? Clearly, Homeworld doesn't care about the personal rights of its lower class. But, as usual, this is all just a theory. A gem theory. Thanks for watching. Yeah, sorry, I just had to make that joke at least once. You have no idea how long I've been holding that in. But yeah, this is all just theoretical. Unfortunately, our outright lack of understanding of Homeworld means that, even if this theory is correct, there are going to be holes in it. And it could very well be that I've read into this all completely wrong. But what do you think? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below. Either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later. Do you have a theory idea or merely a musing about the show that you'd like me to discuss? You can head on over to my Facebook page and send me a message detailing your ideas, and if I find them interesting enough, I'll be sure to respond. Or you could head on over to my Tumblr page and send me an ask. If it's not something that I've covered before, I'll be sure to answer. If you are on Facebook or Tumblr, I also recommend that you like and or follow me there as well to keep up to date on all of my content as well as any supplementary content that I might post on either of those sites. And if you know anyone on Facebook or Tumblr who might find my content interesting, please share it with them. I'd really appreciate it.